In this interactive adventure, I frequently have to read 2, 3, or sometimes even 4 alternate texts for the same situation. As the player makes decisions that affect the direction a game scenario will take, the appropriate response will be played. Recording and then preparing the over 13,000 separate lines of dialogue is the task of Charles Deenan and his staff of sound engineers.
Star Trek Judgement Rites, the largest voice editing project Interplay Audio Department has ever taken on, includes over 240 hours of recorded material, 7 binders of scripts, over 3 months of work, and it all ends up on one single CD-ROM. Beginning with the raw tapes, which was recorded at some of Hollywood's finest studios, we then transferred the audio into our computers and began working on the balance and tone of the sound in each character. Once everything is transferred into our computers, we use them to manipulate and create a tone and balance so that when it comes out on your speakers, it's the best possible sound, and you feel like you're in the game.
Recording the 13,000 lines in Judgement Rites required 28 actors in addition to the familiar cast from Star Trek. The actors were recorded at different times and in a variety of studios. To ensure that the dialogue would fit together seamlessly and flow naturally, Interplay hired professional voiceover director and performer Michael McConaughey of The Voice Works to coordinate and direct the effort.
The experience of directing these people was pretty phenomenal for me because, as everyone else in the project, I saw these people as heroes from the time I was a lot younger than I am now. And the opportunity to work with them, to be accepted as an equal with them in this thing was just an astounding experience. The idea of directing someone like Leonard Nimoy or William Shatner, who are quite capable directors in their own right, was a little daunting, but they were exceptionally forgiving and very accepting. And there was not a clinker in this cast of the original cast of Star Trekkers. They were all, without exception, giving and quick. I mean, at this point, obviously, they know what they're doing. But as far as the supporting actors we cast, the 28 people who had really a rough job, because in many cases they were tripling roles, which everyone says, well, you know, a good actor can do it, but it's a lot different to do it, as in this case, working in a vacuum almost. It was the actor in the booth and the director out front, and there's no one in there to react with. And sometimes we're able to set up the circumstances for the actor, and sometimes not. And these people did not have 25 years of experience to pull back on. But they snapped in very quickly, and in some instances, in the space of 15 minutes, they'd be a human security guard or talking broccoli, depending on the scenario. And it was an awful lot of fun, both to work with them and for them to work in this, because it was cutting-edge technology, and it was Star Trek.
We now have 3 of the critical elements in the making of Judgement Rites. There's still one overriding job to be finished, however. The pieces have to be assembled into a game, something with which the player can interact and control. That's the task of an unusual group of latter-day wizards.
By the time all the parts get to the programmer's been involved in the original design. He's helped to give the artists and the musicians and the game designers and the writers limits on what you can technically do. Then it's the programmer's job to somehow exceed those limits, because the artists and the musicians and everybody else will naturally want 110% of what you told them they could have. So now it's our job to somehow put it all together, come up with that 110%, and still make it a great game where you're playing it and you forget that you're playing a game.
We've looked at the parts. Now let's see what one short scene looks like when all the pieces are put together.
Captain, the computer is locked into an infinite loop. It will continue playing the game until it defeats itself. I can interrupt the moves and input my own.
Try rook to queen's level 3. That will threaten its bishop.
We are maintaining a stable position with its game. We may attain a stalemate if we want that.
I don't want to lose. Let's support our queen with a pawn.
That was not a very good move, Captain.
Quite poor. I would not enter any chess tournaments if I were you, Captain.
Spock, you wound me. Now watch me take his rook with my knight on queen's level 1.
Mate in 3 moves, Jim.
Actually, 4 moves, Doctor. But it has become irrelevant. It has resigned.
The brief scene from Star Trek Judgement Rites you just witnessed took 12 people and several days to complete. When you add up all the scenes, the actors, sound and video engineers, artists, and programmers needed to put them all together, you begin to realize why a modern multimedia title takes months of effort and is such a monumental task.
There's literally thousands of details, and when it all comes together, it's very, very gratifying. But I suppose the most awesome responsibility we have is having inherited the vision of Gene Roddenberry from his original show. There are some great expectations for us. And when we meet those expectations and have a great game that people can enjoy, that is the biggest thrill of all. And I hope that people who play the game have experienced the same kind of thrill that the people, myself and the rest of the staff, experienced while we were putting the game together.
In this brief time together, we've examined how the various elements of Judgement Rites, from concept to finished game, were pulled together by the combined efforts of dozens of gifted individuals. We hope you'll enjoy this, the second of Interplay's computer sojourns with the crew of the Enterprise. Already, more Star Trek games are in production. As you help guide Captain Kirk, Mr. Spock, and the rest of the crew past the tough spots in Star Trek Judgement Rites, be gentle. We'll need them all on the planet Vulcan for the next adventure.